What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. I am Brian Daniels, a content creator here on the domain Gaming, Pop Culture, and Entertainment. And before I get into the topic today about Dragon's Dogma 2 and microtransactions, please do yourself a favor, or do me a favor, actually, as long as yourself, and please subscribe to us here on the domain Gaming, Pop Culture, and Entertainment. We cover those things and more, such as conventions, video games, of course. Sometimes, Josh, other content creator here, unboxes toys. We've talked about pro wrestling on here from time to time as well. Subscribe to our channel. We would super duper appreciate that. If you like any of those things, please subscribe to us here on YouTube. So, let's get into it. So, Dragon's Dogma 2 came out today, and the game has unearthed some controversy since its release because it apparently has microtransactions in the game. That's right. Dragon's Dogma 2 has microtransactions in it, and a lot of people are upset about it, rightfully so. In a perfect video game industry world, we wouldn't have microtransactions. I wouldn't want them, you wouldn't want them, nobody else would want them, except game developers want them because it helps them make more money. And that's why they're in there. There was a day and age where we also got mad about this other similar concept in DLC, and how a lot of people thought that DLC kind of felt like the game itself, the main game, felt incomplete, and so the DLC kind of added stuff. And now we've come to a kind of a compromise in DLC where we got great DLCs to look forward to, such as the Elden Ring DLC coming up next month in April, for instance, is one. There's been some other great DLCs that have came out, and we have come a very long way from the times of DLC, the Dark Ages of DLC, so to speak. But now with microtransactions, we're not there yet. And I think we have a long way to go because, let's face it, as much as we wish they were going away, as I said earlier, they're not. Microtransactions are here to stay. As long as people continue to purchase them, they're not going anywhere, and they're not going to give developers a reason to not put them in. Now, a lot of people were surprised and shocked to find that Dragon's Dogma 2 had microtransactions because they did not know that. It was not anticipated. And a matter of fact, when video game reviewers got a copy of this, the DLCs were not active. I'm sorry, the microtransactions were not active in the game, but they were provided a sheet of a list of all the microtransactions that would be in the game once it releases. Now, if you don't know, I am someone that has reviewed video games in the past. I've gotten the pleasure of being able to access video games weeks before they release. I remember, like with Assassin's Creed Valhalla, if memory serves me well, the game has microtransactions in it currently, and they had them when they launched. But when we got copies of it weeks before it came out, the microtransactions were not in the game. We were provided a sheet of the microtransactions so we could see them, but they weren't active, right? Because the game hadn't released yet. Same goes here. Now, if there were video game reviewers out there or journalists out there that knew about this and failed to, kind of make mention of that in their review, shame on you. Shame on you for not doing that. It's your job. You're supposed to be a video game journalist, a reviewer. You're supposed to let people know these things. And there were a lot of people out there that did not let people know that this game had microtransactions. So anyway, we're going to take a look here at this Forbes article that talks about the negative Dragon's Dogma 2 reviews pour in as players discover its microtransactions. The good buzz around Dragon's Dogma 2 lasted a little more than a day or two. This is Forbes. As now today, the morning of launch, the discourse has been consumed by the game's use of microtransactions. Though a list was provided to reviewers, they were not live during that process. We just talked about that. Were almost never mentioned. They weren't mentioned. But now that the game has gone launched to the public, players are treated to a lengthy list of extra paid content that includes things like new fast travel points or character redesigns. The full reveal of these microtransactions has led to a flood of negative reviews, which we're going to look at, and they now stand at mixed on Steam, a contrast to the game's 8790 Metascore. Now, on Metacritic, they don't have any reviewer scores yet, but I'm sure once they do, they're going to pour in. Now, one side believes that we've seen this kind of thing many times before, both in other single-player games, even in Capcom games like Monster Hunter and Resident Evil. It's also in Devil May Cry 5 as well. You can buy the red orbs that allow you to buy stuff and upgrade your character, where those microtransactions drew fewer complaints. Additionally, it's also the case that many items being sold, like fast travel points, revive stones, and character redesigns, can be found in the game itself. And here is the list. So you have a list. These are all the DLCs you can buy, or DLCs. Fuck, I keep saying that. Microtransactions you can buy in the game. Camping kit, a sound collection. You've got smoke beacons, a pendant, tons of wake stones, tons of rift crystals. If you don't know what rift crystals are, that allows you to summon pawns. You have to have so many rift crystal points to summon pawns, and typically the higher level the pawn, the more rift crystals you use. Okay, fine. But this is a single-player game. Now, there's a general idea that single-player games that are selling at full price should not have microtransactions at all. Everyone famously pointing to Baldur's Gate 3 developers saying that they believe in a complete and immersive gaming experience without the need for additional. And I agree with that. I will say this. I agree. I think there should never be microtransactions in games. Never. If it's in the game, why do you need to buy it? Right? So, let's talk about it. Not only that, but Hideki Itsuno said that they shouldn't have fast travel. He wanted to make it so that players have to go on foot or on bike, as he says here. I understand that. I understand it. But what I want to talk about real quick is the fact that this game is getting lots of negative attention. So let's go to Dragon's Dogma 2 right now. This is the store page. I'll even refresh it here. This is the current store page of Dragon's Dogma 2, and right now it is at mixed. It's at over 15,000 reviews right now. It's at mixed. Earlier today, it was at mostly negative. I refreshed it earlier and announced it at mixed. So let's look at the reviews. Let's go down here, scroll past all this shit. JC says not recommended. Hey Capcom, you can purchase a good review for a good review DLC for $1.09. That's actually kind of funny. This one says technical issues, character stuck on the floor, can't reload as an autosave, can't delete character, make a new one. Yeah, let's talk about that, by the way. The other issue with this game is it has no new game. Once you start the game, you don't get a new game screen. You can't make an entirely brand new character, play an entirely different playthrough of the game. You only get one character. Like that is personally that's my biggest complaint. Who in the fuck thought that was a good idea? To be like, yeah, hey, so we're gonna already charge $70, which I don't agree with as a price point. It should just stay $60. That's neither here nor there. However, who thought it was? Hey, here's an idea. You don't get a new game. You only get one game. That's it, and that sucks because most games now save via the cloud. You have cloud-based saves. Xbox does this, PlayStation does this, Steam has cloud storage. And typically what happens is if you delete your save, because it's meant to protect you from deleting your own save, like if something happens, it'll recover your save for you. No, not here, because now most games have this thing where cloud storage is enabled, so even if you delete your game, it's going to recover your game from the cloud, and you're screwed. Same thing applies here. So what do you have to do in order to do that? You have to delete, according to this user, Ject, who said not recommended after 3 hours, which that's about how much I've played the game too. There is, in fact, a way to delete the save game and start over. You have to go to this file, delete your save, delete the most recent saves, then go back to Steam and disable cloud storage. That is the only way you can start a new game on here. That is stupid. Capcom. This is dumb. This is absolutely a stupid practice. Why would you make a game where you don't get a new game, you have to load, you don't get to make a whole new character, do a whole different journey. You're limited to 2 save files apparently when you save the game. It's just dumb. Why don't you let people create as many saves as they want? Why do that to them? Why not let them have another save or another new game? I don't know who thought that was a good idea, but this is a stupid idea. It's an absolute dumb idea. Now, back to the microtransactions. Of course, there's lots of not recommended. The game has technical issues. There's Denuvo in here, which is a anti-cheat, anti-tamper protection, which is screwing people over playing the game on Steam Deck, trying to play it on Linux, which won't let you. Dumb shit like, after some testing, this person found that they were there's having issues with FPS, having to disable DLSS and FSR3, lots of issues on PC. I've been playing the game personally on PS5. No issues on PS5 at all. But, people should be able to enjoy games no matter what console they play on, right? That's how, that's how it is. Just reading the Steam reviews here. I'll go back to that screen. You guys can see. I mean, just reading the Steam reviews, look, having some issues with the FPS. People not being able to play the game on Steam Deck with Linux installed. Why? I don't understand. This is so stupid. So dumb. Microtransactions in a single-player game. Can't delete save data, start a new game if you mess up your character during character creation either. That's a great review. Very simple, right? So, my thoughts. Let's look at the DLC. Let's go to the store page so you can see. I keep saying DLC. The microtransactions. So you go under content for the game. You go see all, and this is all it right there. If you want to buy it all once, it's $41 for one shot. But you got Rift Crystals, which help you summon pawns. Like I said before, that helps you summon pawns. Wake Stones restore revive your characters. Port Crystals, which, by the way, I want to make mention. All of these items are obtainable in the game, except the sound and music collection. Everything else is obtainable. So, what I said earlier about needing to compromise, there needs to be a compromise. How do we get to compromising when it comes to microtransactions? Because let's face it, right? They're not going anywhere. They're sticking around. It sucks. So how do we compromise? The compromise, I think, is simple. See, in Dragon's Dogma 2, the game doesn't feel like a grind that you need to have the microtransactions to make the game play easier, right? Can you beat this game without buying a single microtransaction? Yes. I played Devil May Cry 5, which another Capcom game that also has microtransactions in it galore. Beat the entire game twice, and I never once felt like I needed a microtransaction. I think the compromise is, one, if you're going to have microtransactions, which you're going to have, make it so the microtransactions don't feel necessary and they don't feel like a mobile game. And the reason why I say they don't feel like a mobile game is because in mobile games on your phone, they have these things called timers or little bars you have to have fill up. And what do they do in a mobile game? They flash up a thing that says, oh, if you don't want to wait, buy a pack of this item. It's usually $5 or whatever for 99 cents. They lower the price to make it seem like it's worth it. Don't want to wait for your character to level up? Buy this bundle of this item that will help your character level up faster. Don't make these microtransactions feel like a mobile game. I was talking with my wife earlier. She plays a lot of mobile games. She'll play like the Monopoly Go is a big one. I've played it too. It's fun. But the game does make you feel like you have to have microtransactions sometimes. So if you're going to have them in video games and console games, PC games, big AAA games, make the microtransactions there, but not necessary. As long as the gameplay doesn't make you feel like you have to rely on them to beat the game. Right? 2, don't put the microtransactions in your face. The thing about Dragon's Dogma 2, when I streamed it right here on YouTube, by the way, I do stream. Try to stream Monday through Friday here on YouTube. When I streamed it last night, I didn't even realize I had microtransactions. I don't even think I noticed that there was a store there. I'll have to go back and look. But they weren't in my face. They didn't pop up during the game. I wasn't walking down, I wasn't jogging to my next quest marker, and then all of a sudden the game stopped me halfway and said, hey, by the way, if you don't want to feel like you have to walk this far, buy some teleport crystals. It didn't do that. So as long as they don't have the microtransactions flash up on the screen like they do when you're playing a mobile game, okay. So I think those are the compromises. Also, the other compromise is in PvP games that are competitive, where it's player versus player, like Call of Duty, for instance, which is notorious for just enticing you and being very predatory and flashing up on the screen. Like that's kind of why a lot of people say, how come we don't play Call of Duty much anymore? That's the reason why. It's because I'm tired of having to, 1, have 300 gigabyte downloads and updates all the damn time. 2, every time I log in, it makes me exit all these pages of microtransactions. Get rid of that shit. Dragon's Dogma 2 does not do that. At least it doesn't do it now. I don't know if it does it today. I haven't played the game currently. But after I played it last night when it started, It didn't do that. So as long as the microtransactions aren't like predatory in nature, or they flash up on your screen, or they stop you midway through playing the game, and it comes up and it says, hey, if you don't want to wait to teleport from XYZ to this location, buy a bundle of this to save time. I think that's about as good of a compromise as we're going to get. Oh, and also keep them out of PvP to the point where it feels like a person can have more of an advantage over you by buying items that are purchasable to make you play better or give you an advantage. I think that's the compromise. I think we need to come to a way to find a compromise. And that might be how we get there. Anyway, that's my thoughts. Let me know how you're feeling. You can beat the entire game of Dragon's Dogma 2. You don't need to buy the microtransactions. Enjoy this game. It is a fun game. As someone who really didn't get a whole lot into the first game in Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen, I am having a blast with this game. You do not need any of the microtransactions to enjoy this game. All of these items are able to be found. I think some of them may be a little bit more rare than others, but still, you don't need them to beat this game and enjoy it. Let me know your thoughts on this down in the comments below. I read them. We respond to comments here as well. And please subscribe to us. Give us a thumbs up. You know all the shit you need to do, right? Anyway, thanks for watching. Super appreciate you. And until the next one, we'll see you guys. Thank you.